It is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of CoinMetal. And it was a no jiu-jitsu, or get your ass kicked at jiu-jitsu Wednesday. I did not, unfortunately, go to jiu-jitsu today. It happens on very rare occasion. But I did go yesterday. I actually got in 2 classes yesterday. Did a beginning and an advanced class. And, I felt like I definitely got a lot of good time in. I can't remember the slightest thing about what we actually did. Hopefully I'll be able to remember when I'm rolling again, right? But I don't recall that we actually did a whole lot of sparring. I do know that the one sparring session that we did do, it seems to me like I was pretty evenly matched with the guy that I was rolling with, and that I wasn't getting my ass handed to me or anything like that. So, there's that to be said for it, right? But I do recall that we did a little bit of no-gi stuff yesterday, and that was kind of interesting. It's good to kind of change it up now and then. Nonetheless, I did kind of feel like a fish out of water without it. I didn't have it to grab onto, or there's to grab onto, and I like using my gi as a weapon as much as using my opponent's gi as a weapon. So it's one of those things that without it, I had to really adapt my game. I don't recall having slammed my opponent very hard though. So, they were at least giving me a good fight back. Anyway, with that, because like I said, I can't really remember the slightest thing about what we did as far as like the technique. Oh, and that's why I was just thinking about what we were doing, and it was it's kind of a weird arm break, or not arm break, but arm related submission. It was kind of a wrenching kind of thing. I guess that's one of the reasons why I had so much trouble trying to remember what it was, only because I can't remember what the hell to call it. It was starting from I want to say it was an S mount, and kind of leaning over with your opponent's elbow cupped in your hand, and then kind of pushing it in this weird direction and getting him to tap out on it. We got 2 different variations on it. It was just, like I said, I can't exactly remember the name of it or how to describe it. Like I said, it was something that I felt like if my arm were in it, my opponent would be trying to break my arm. So, yeah, like I said, I have no idea what the hell they call the damn thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. And as far as where to go, I think a little bit of body count is, of course, in order. Talk shit, get shot. First Dance, here on CoinMetal. And that was Prong with Revenge, best served cold. Yeah, I'm definitely kind of feeling that way around now, because I think I've made, I've made plenty of predictions as far as what kind of people would be involved in hacking people's identity. So I got this article here. It's on zdnet.com. AT&T employees took bribes to plant malware on the company's network. Jesus fucking Christ. This is by Catlin Simpanu for 0 Day. So, I don't know. Going by the picture, yes, penis. This is authored August 6, 2019 at 14:02 GMT. Continuing on. AT&T employees took bribes to unlock millions of smartphones and install malware and and unauthorized hardware on the company's network, the Department of Justice said yesterday. These details come from a DOJ case opened against Mohammed FUD, a 34-year-old man from Pakistan, and his co-conspirator, Ghulam Jiwani, believed to be deceased. The DOJ charged the two with paying more than $1 million in bribes to several AT&T employees at the company's mobility customer care call center in Bothell, Washington, operating since 2012. The bribery scheme lasted from at least April 2012 until September 2017. Initially, the two Pakistani men bribed AT&T employees to unlock expensive iPhones so they could be used outside of AT&T's network. The two recruited AT&T employees by approaching them in private via telephone or Facebook messages. Employees who agreed received lists of IMEI phone codes which they had to unlock for sums of money. Employees would then receive bribes in their bank accounts, in shell companies they created or as cash from the two Pakistani men. The initial stage of the scheme lasted for about a year until April 2013, when several employees left or were fired by AT&T. Malware stage. That's when FUD changed tactics and bribed AT&T employees to install malware on AT&T's network at the Bothell call center. Between April and October 2013, this initial malware collected data on how AT&T infrastructure worked. According to court documents unsealed yesterday, this malware appears to be a keylogger, having the ability to gather confidential and proprietary information regarding the structure and the functioning of AT&T's internal protected computers and applications. The DOJ said FUD and his co-conspirator then created a second malware strain that leveraged the information acquired through the first. The second malware used AT&T employee credentials to perform automated actions on AT&T's internal application to unlock phones at FUD's behest without needing to interact with the AT&T employees every time. In November 2014, as FUD began having problems controlling this malware, the DOJ said he also bribed AT&T employees to install rogue wireless access points inside AT&T's Bothell call center. These devices helped FUD with gaining access to AT&T's internal apps and network, and continued the rogue phone unlocking scheme. One AT&T employee made $428,500. The DOJ claims FUD and Jiwani paid more than $1 million in bribes to AT&T employees and successfully unlocked more than 2 million devices, most of which were expensive iPhones. One AT&T employee received more than $428,500 in bribes over a 5-year period, investigators said. The DOJ said the two operated 3 companies named Endless Trading, FCE, Endless Connections, Inc., and iDevelopment. The DOJ didn't say if FUD and Jiwani were unlocking stolen devices or running an unauthorized phone unlocking website. For some email communications, FUD used the unlock out it at ymail.com address, suggesting the latter scenario. FUD was arrested in Hong Kong in February of 2018 and extradited to the U.S. on August 2nd, last week. Now he faces a litany of charges that may send him behind bars for up to 20 years. AT&T estimated that it lost revenue of more than $5 million a year from FUD's phone unlocking scheme. Quote, "We have been working closely with law enforcement since this scheme was uncovered to bring these criminals to justice and are pleased with these developments," an AT&T spokesperson told ZDNet. The company said this indictment did not involve access to customers' personal data. Let me tell you something. If he's bribing them to hack into their phones, chances are that their customers' personal information was probably compromised too. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. There's a few comments. Air Michael Bender says, not unlike what the CIA did decades ago at AT&T to outsource continual spying on all American telephone conversations, but without the bribery. And let's see. At the Murph says, probably the same Pakistanis hired by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who ran the DNC web security, then fled to Pakistan after they were exposed. I don't know, there could be more than one group out there, you know. Franco123 says, I'm betting the culprits inside AT&T were imported foreign indentured servants being paid substandard wages. AT&T is infamous for bringing in lots of visa workers. Then again, every company in tech is doing the same thing. And that is true. I think that far more effort should be put into training Americans as opposed to filling up a bunch of H-1B visas. Anyway, continuing on, Sony Sucks says, H-1B, Tracy Man convicted of felony visa fraud and identity theft. Abjit Prasad faked Cisco documents. Muhammad Fad, a 34-year-old man from Pakistan, and his co-conspirator Gilawam Jiwani. There seems to be a common theme in all of these cases. Can't quite put my finger on it. Oh well, bringing more foreigners to tech in H-1B, and the U.S. clearly needs them. Aww. And Shroom says, you might as well cut to the chase and go after their skin color. No, dude, it's not a matter of their skin color. It's a matter of the fact that there's not enough investment going into training Americans and far more priority being put on importing people from outside of the United States to do those jobs. And I know that doesn't mean very much to some people, but to Americans it means something because they're not the ones being hired. They're not the ones being trained up. And it's kind of a failure of our educational system that we got people that can pass tests, but they can't work for AT&T. We got to import somebody from fucking India to do it. That's just bullshit. Anyway, continuing on. I can't even pronounce that. Jail Rise 61 says, this does raise at least one interesting question. Who were his customers? The owners of the phones? Thieves? Both? Shroom says, the DOJ said the two operated 3 companies, blah, 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 blah. The DOJ didn't say if FUD and Jiwani were unlocking stolen devices or running an unauthorized unlocking website. For some reason, the DOJ is keeping that information from the public. I wonder if there's a wider investigation underway. I gotta wonder if these two gentlemen didn't actually perform services for the United States government at some point or another, and, for whatever reason, the United States government said, oh, you guys are criminals, so we're gonna bust you. No telling. Anyway, so my next article here is on CoinDesk. And, Binance, they've had several issues in the past with regard to hacks and hackery and funds or SAFU and all that other bullshit. But apparently they were hit again. So here it is. An extortion gone bad. Inside Binance's negotiation with its KYC hacker. This is by John Biggs and Daniel Kuhn, so double penis. This is authored August 7th, 2019 at 22:30 UTC. Continuing on. In what appears to be an elaborate game of hackers hacking hackers, an individual operating under the pseudonym Banatov Plantin has provided CoinDesk with exclusive information about their attempts to obtain millions of dollars in exchange for declining to release information about customers of one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, Binance. Information about the hack gathered over a month-long interaction with the hacker was pushed into the public eye today when Plantin began posting what he alleges were images and information about real Binance customers, first on an open website and then on Telegram. The idea customer information might not be safe on the world's largest exchange was enough to immediately spark the attention of the industry, the major news websites, and Twitter influencers swiftly broadcasting the news. Yet, the full story was, and remains, more complicated than it first appeared. First, it has deep roots, extending back to an incident in May when an outside group broke into Binance user accounts and stole 7,000 Bitcoin. At the time, Binance was, as always, public about its problems, describing it as part of a, quote, large-scale security breach in which, quote, hackers were able to obtain a large number of user API keys, 2FA codes, and potentially other information. Unmentioned, however, was that identifying user information may have also been leaked. It's during this event that Plantin alleges the information they have obtained about Binance customers was produced, although in a twist he says he was not the perpetrator of the hack, but that he hacked an exchange insider involved in the heist. In another turn, Binance alleges the customer data was obtained from an unnamed third-party company it has contracted to conduct its Know Your Customer KYC since February of 2018. Further, CoinDesk has confirmed that at least 2 of the hundreds of profiles leaked belong to real customers who provided identifying information to the exchange. One of the images we analyzed seemed to have been doctored, but the person whose identity appeared in the picture confirmed she had created a Binance account around the time of the leaks. In conversations with CoinDesk, Plantin has claimed they are a, quote, white hat hacker and, in a few comments, suggested they were asking Binance for a bug bounty for exposing the information. Negotiations broke down, however, and Plantin and Binance representatives reported that he asked for 300 Bitcoin in order to further expand on the data he held. In a statement, Binance responded to the, quote, fear, uncertainty, and doubt cast by the news. Quote, we would like to inform you that an unidentified individual has threatened and harassed us, demanding 300 Bitcoin in exchange for withholding 10,000 photos that bear similarity to Binance KYC data. We are still investigating this case for legitimacy and relevancy. We have contacted Binance for further comment. Plantin claims they have 60,000 pieces of KYC information in his collection. What follows is what we know about the negotiations and their aftermath. Moving money. CoinDesk's interaction with Plantin first began in July when we began reporting on the movement of Bitcoin stolen in the May breach of Binance. Binance responded to the hack at the time, saying malicious actors acquired customers' APIs, two-factor codes, and potentially other information. Plantin's take on the incident was different. They alleged that an insider within the organization helped make a number of APIs public that allowed the hackers to directly access client accounts. Hackers stored lists of client API keys, the codes used to access their accounts remotely. In text files, Plantin claimed to be able to acquire. This allowed the hackers to access funds remotely. The files also, quote, contained extremely serious information, including customers' email addresses and account passwords, Plantin said. The customers at risk had opened Binance accounts between 2018 and 2019. Using this personal information, the hackers wrote a malicious script that allowed them to instantly withdraw 0.002 Bitcoin, roughly $23 at the time. The code placed a buy order for an obscure token called the Block Mason Credit Protocol and converted it to Bitcoin. The code, which we have examined, could also perform a number of functions using API calls that are no longer open or public. When we tested one API call, however, a simple request for the server time, it was still open. It is unclear if the closed API endpoints were removed or simply hidden. Plantin alleges the stolen coins were held in a wallet hosted by Bitcoin software wallet provider Blockchain, the maker of the recently launched PIT exchange. By following a trail leading from this wallet, Plantin discovered that the hackers had laundered 2,000 Bitcoins through BitMEX, Yobit, KuCoin, and Huobi, and were looking to convert as much as $1 million in Bitcoin per day. How it worked. Of the 60,000 customer accounts Plantin alleges were breached, he shared 636 files with CoinDesk. He hoped the media attention would spur Binance to announce the true extent of the hack and bring the hackers to justice. For its part, Binance announced the stolen Bitcoin came only from their corporate accounts and did not affect consumers. At the time, the exchange also suspended deposits and withdrawals to protect users. However, the extent of leaked user information was kept secret. In addition to images of passwords, driver's licenses, and actual headshots of users holding up their IDs, Plantin also supplied a few examples of metadata associated with the images. For example, this code suggests that a user went through KYC on March 20th, 2018. I'm just looking through the information provided here. Oh, okay, create time and update time. Okay. The KYC took place in China as suggested by the name of the auditor as well as the addition of the something characters at the end of the country code. It is unclear what the other fields represent. Further, Plantin sent CoinDesk code that he described as accessing a backdoor placed in Binance servers by a, quote, insider. Analysis of the code suggests Plantin is correct. Quote, this is highly likely to be an API key attack, said Victor Spack, CTO at blockchain development firm Visible Magic. They harvested API keys from somewhere, he says. API keys are used to authenticate services within exchanges and other applications that could allow a hacker to do anything from buy cryptocurrency on a victim's behalf to actually moving cryptocurrency to an outside wallet. Spack said code in particular is suggestive of a backdoor within Binance, although CoinDesk was not able to independently verify access via this function and the associated API key. Quote, most likely an insider created a handler to get access to user API keys and then harvested those API keys and got access to user data and have built a nice toolkit to work through this, he said. Though when confronted about this information at the time, a Binance representative said, quote, as of the latest from the team, there is currently no evidence that these are KYC images from Binance and they are not watermarked per our system process. Plantin's motivation. While speaking with CoinDesk, Plantin also contacted Binance's chief technology officer, Ted Lin, as part of a multi-front effort to bring the hackers to justice, or so he alleges. Quote, I personally wanted to make Binance world's first exchange that captures hackers. It will be extremely positive for Binance's reputation, Plantin said, who added, quote, I informed Lin that I've got insider information such as insiders' details, insiders' communication details with outsiders, and even insiders' photo. I informed him that I have details of hackers, server information, their identity, their phone numbers, etc. In a message from Lin that Plantin shared with CoinDesk, the CTO was receptive to pay for information that could lead to the arrest of the hackers, insiders, and recovery of funds. However, in the same message, Lin rebuffed Plantin for the FUD campaign he was running. Quote, as I said, we don't react to extortions, Lin said. In earlier conversations with CoinDesk, Plantin claimed to be independently wealthy and the operator of a crypto exchange he says is 1/3 the size of Binance. He also said he wasn't interested in financial remuneration. Quote, when I require money, I can just I can just hack out one exchange account balance. Hackers, I could retrieve more than 600 or 700 coins easily by hacking hackers' wallets, Plantin said. Quote, but I didn't touch a single penny while watching more and more coins are laundered out and moved around to remove tracks, he said, claiming he didn't want to tip the hackers off that he was onto their trail. Conversation breaks down. Despite Plantin's allegedly altruistic aims, CoinDesk later learned from Plantin and Binance officials the supposed white hat hacker was requesting 300 Bitcoin, about $3 million at July's exchange rate, paid in 50 installments for his information. Somewhere along the line, however, negotiations broke down. On July 22nd, just 5 days after they initially contacted CoinDesk, Plantin said he had stopped negotiating with Binance. Quote, for about a month of negotiation, they didn't pay a single penny, Plantin said. My deal with Binance is broken. It was then that Plantin's conversation with Binance degenerated into a hostage negotiation, with Plantin threatening to dump whatever customer information he had acquired. Plantin supplied the following alleged exchange with Ted Lin, where negotiations broke down. Ted Lin, I see you already fed the info you have to the media. Ted Lin, given the damage from your FUD campaign is already done, whatever bounty you were asking for, the information would be significantly less. As I said, we don't react to extortions, but we are willing to get more information relating to perpetrators. If you have useful information that can enable us to put bad guys behind bars and recover funds. Plantin, as I said, I don't need your money. Plantin, I'm out of deal already. Plantin, I'm not expecting you to react either. Plantin, but I love to see insiders and those hackers' reaction when news is published. Once again, I'm not interested in your reaction. Ted Lin, I thought you want to see these hackers caught. Plantin, I wanted, but not now. I'd rather step away and keep watching. Ted Lin, we are still interested in paying for information that can lead to the arrest of hackers, insiders, and recovery of funds. Ted Lin, let us know if you have more info that can achieve those. We were going through verification of the type of info you have before you decided not to talk. Let me know if you change your mind and want to continue. Thanks for your help. Plantin, then pay me! Dude, make up your mind. My decision for negotiation with Binance was wrong, he said. They are not the right people, so I will just publish all data to its customers. Indeed, speaking with a Binance representative on July 22nd, Planton said, quote, "A current interest of mine is those hackers an insider in your company. I would love to see their reaction when news is published." On August 5th, Planton's threats became a reality as he uploaded a document dump containing a total of 500 photos for 166 people's KYC to open a file sharing site under the pseudonym Guardian M. This was followed up by a second dump containing hundreds of images of individuals holding their IDs to Telegram group on Wednesday morning. Planton's explanation is simple. They think they are doing the right thing. People keep asking, why are you releasing these KYC photos? How did you get them? The reason I am releasing those KYC is simple. To warn you, people who are dealing on Binance. If I needed money, I would sell it underground, not to publish it. Yeah, that's very, very interesting. So apparently, the hack that Binance suffered was a bit more extensive than they had initially indicated, and the information that was yielded is being dispensed upon the internet. I don't know how to react to this one, honestly. I think that, we've covered this multiple times on this show that KYC is just bullshit. I mean, really, whose business is it that you've done some cryptocurrency transactions? Nobody's. And collecting information on you just is basically, it's opening you up to this level of being, exposed. That at any time they could hand the responsibility of their customers' information and handling of it off to a disinterested third party, which they did. And the same thing happened with AT&T. I mean, I don't understand why this is so difficult for companies to get, that they need people that actually give a shit whether or not their customers' information is getting hacked. They need people that actually care about that information and the reputation of their home company and so on and so forth. They need people that care about that shit. And you don't get that by hiring a third party to handle your information. At least not on the average. The average, they've got like some subsidiary concerns, like with AT&T, they hired quote-unquote customer service agents, but they would have them performing sales duties as well and trying to sign up new customers. Well, that fucks up the entire incentive model, because now it's a matter of what I can get you to agree to and not necessarily what's according to your best interests, nor even your requests. And see, when the customer's requests or the customer's desires are not held as the paramount concern of the interaction between you and them, then you end up in a space where fuckery is possible. Where if I'm just like if I'm kind of sociopathic about your customers, I'm not going to give a fuck whether or not there's any loss of reputation on your part. All I'm going to care about is that I've got access to the routing number for your customer, and I'm going to be able to get into their bank account and or sell that information to somebody else who intends to utilize it, and make myself a pretty little penny. The whole game of incentives is changing rapidly. And I would attribute it to the lack of investment in training people. Because like what kind of pride are you supposed to have in your job if your your employer doesn't have enough pride in you to invest in the time and effort in getting you properly trained to handle the job at hand? That kind of engenders you with a little bit of apathy toward your employer, deserved or not. They could be a perfectly decent employer, other than the fact that they're not bothering to train you worth of shit, and so you spend half of your shift frustrated and calling people over to your desk to help you out with basic customer information shit because your employer didn't bother to train you on it, or at least not properly. Happens all the time. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music, and let's see, where to go? I keep wanting to play Red Fang, but for some reason the metadata wasn't transferred, and so I don't know what the songs are called. I have to go back through and edit the damn metadata. Let's go with a little bit of Rollins Band, and I think this one's kind of appropriate. Liar, here on CoinMetal. And that was Melvins with Revolve. Yeah, so apparently there's more to this Binance story, and so I actually got a couple articles about it. We're gonna dig into them and see if there's anything that we didn't actually get yet. So this first one is on thebitcoinist.com. Binance issues statement on false KYC leak. CEO comments, and this is on by Anja von Oosterhout. No penis. This is authored August 7th, 2019 at 5:06 a.m. Hacker extorting Binance? In a statement, which we're going to right-click on and see if that's actually... Yeah, okay, it is Binance statement. Okay. In a statement issued August 6th, the major cryptocurrency exchange said it was investigating the claims, which revolve around a hacker demanding 300 Bitcoin in return for withholding traders' personal data, including passports. The threats, which Binance now acknowledge are genuine, came via a Telegram group which has amassed over 10,000 members. In the statement, Binance explained that the alleged data set showed, quote, inconsistencies compared to genuine user information, such as a lack of an internal watermark. It thus remains unknown as to whether any of the documents are genuine or related to Binance. Quote, we are still investigating this case for legitimacy and relevancy. After refusing to cooperate and continuing with his extortion, this individual has begun distributing the data to the public and to media outlets, the statement warns. At the present time, no evidence has been supplied that indicates any KYC images have been obtained from Binance, as these images do not contain the digital watermark imprinted by her system. With that said, our security team is hard at work pursuing all possible leads in an attempt to identify the source of these images. CZ reprimands users accidentally aiding the attacker. On social media, CEO Changpeng Zhao, known as CZ, requested users not share the address of the Telegram group or spread misinformation based on non-official sources. Quote, don't fall into the KYC leak FUD. We are investigating. We'll update shortly, he tweeted earlier on Wednesday. Some sources, including CZ, state that the data involved stems from a previous scare in 2018, which involved both Binance and fellow exchange Kraken, and the current hype is merely a regurgitation of old news. The statement further suggested this was the most likely explanation, noting that at the time the would-be attacker refused to demonstrate the authenticity of the haul. On initial review of the images made public, they all appear to be dated from February of 2018, at which time Binance had contracted a third-party vendor for KYC verification in order to handle the high volume of requests at the time, it reads. Currently, we are investigating with the third-party vendor for more information. Binance has remained broadly free of serious security compromises in its brief history. Bullshit. An exception came earlier this year when a hacker managed to steal user funds worth $41 million. Binance subsequently refunded users from its own pocket. Yeah, they've had two very, very significant hacks. So, this bullshit that they're immune from drama or that they haven't been hacked before. Yeah, it's bullshit. But let's get into this statement, and we'll see if it gives us any more information that we haven't already received. This is on Binance.com. Statement on false KYC leak. And this is on August 6, 2019. Dear Binanceans, we would like to inform you that an unidentified individual has threatened and harassed us, demanding 300 Bitcoin in exchange for withholding 10,000 photos that bear similarity to Binance KYC data. We are still investigating this case for legitimacy and relevancy. After refusing to cooperate and continuing with this extortion, this individual has begun distributing the data to the public and to media outlets. First and foremost, there are inconsistencies when comparing this data to the data in our system. At the present time, no evidence has been supplied that indicates any KYC images have been obtained from Binance, as these images do not contain the digital watermark imprinted by our system. With that said, our security team is hard at work pursuing all possible leads in an attempt to identify the source of these images. On initial review of the images made public, they appear to be dated from February of 2018, at which time Binance had contracted a third-party vendor for KYC verification in order to handle the high volume of requests at that time. Currently, we are investigating with the third-party vendor for more information. We are continuing to investigate and will keep you informed. We believe that this is the same data that was covered in previous news articles, such as blah 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 blah, Exchange Data Hall. The hacker also claims he has the KYC information from multiple exchanges. When asked to prove the source of the data, the individual demanded 300 Bitcoin and refused to supply irrefutable evidence of their findings. Later, they went to the press under false pretenses, posing as a white hat with good intentions. The relevant law enforcement agencies have been contacted and will be working closely with them to pursue this person. If you are able to provide any information to help identify this person and allow us to pursue the individual through legal action, we will offer a reward of up to 25 Bitcoin dependent on the relevance of the data supplied. You may submit this information by opening a support ticket at support.binance.com. Lastly, unrelated to this, please be wary of any fraudsters who may impersonate Binance customer service and request you to withdraw your funds. Please remember that protecting our users' privacy and keeping our systems secure, including the funds stored within, is our utmost priority. We have numerous measures in place to ensure the safekeeping of our users' information, and we will continue to maintain the highest degree of transparency when serving our community. We will keep all of you updated with any developments throughout our investigation, and we are grateful for your continued trust and support. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I stopped trading on Binance a little while ago, and honestly, it didn't have anything to do with any of this bullshit. It was wholly unrelated. But nonetheless, I'm kind of glad that I did, because I think my information was either was exposed in this or probably would have been exposed in this. It's these KYC requirements. You know, back in the day when the exchanges first started, they needed your email address and a receive address to send your fucking funds to. That's it. They didn't need to know your personal address. They didn't need to know any of that bullshit. But regulatory agencies have popped up and said, "Oh, we regulate you, and you gotta do this," and it's exposing all of us to all of these fucking security hacks. When one of these happens, thousands, if not millions, of customers' data is harvested and gleaned. Why are we making it easy for identity thieves and fucking bank fraudsters to hack our fucking information and steal it virtually, it seems, at will? You know, my axiom on this is, if you do not collect it, it cannot be stolen. It's very, very simple. And there is nothing that makes it necessary for you to collect that much information. You don't need my fucking physical address. You don't need my phone number. You don't need you do need my email address, but that's only to communicate with me and verify that I'm me and so on and so forth. But the actual demands to make sure that the communications between me and you are secure and that I'm able to operate on your exchange or whatever, very, very minimal. Do not involve a lot of the fucking meat space stuff. Does not involve my personal picture. It does not involve the picture of legal documents, you know, with my name on them and my fucking, you know, my birth certificate and my driver's license, my social security card. You don't need any of that shit. In order for me to do business with you via cryptocurrencies, you do not need any of that shit. Did the funds clear? Was the transaction valid? Is the funds in your hot little hands? That is all that matters. Did you send the fucking money back to me? Is it in my wallet? That's all that matters. But no. We gotta create a fucking imminent threat to millions of customers by demanding all kinds of information that, if accumulated on you, could be used to target you for political or even financial reasons. And I mean, I think that people take this way too lightly. Way too lightly. You know, there was a guy, I had an article around here someplace at one point. There was a guy, he sued AT&T for like $24 million. Or some outrageous amount. Anyway, I'm wondering what kind of connection it might have with this AT&T employees take bribes to plant malware on the company's network. I would have to wonder exactly what, you know, maybe it's in there. You never know. But yeah, this guy got hacked, and his exchange accounts were accessed because his phone information was possible to compromise, and after his phone information was compromised, then his Gmail information was compromised, then his 2FA keys were seized, then so on and so forth, and somebody ganked $24 million out of this dude's wallet or some shit. I don't know that it was that much, but it was a lot of fucking money, and so, you know, that on top of, you know, violation of his security and so on and so forth, the suit was $24 million. Anyway, it was not thrown out of court. So they're actually going to go to court over this fucking thing, and AT&T is going to be brought to answer for their shit, playing fast and loose with everybody's KYC data by hiring off a third party to handle the shit. And again, it comes down to the priorities of the company. You know, if it's not really all that important to you that, you know, your customers' data is 100% secure, you're going to do stupid shit like hire a third party to handle their fucking banking information and their physical addresses. And god damn. But again, I think we could avoid all of this if governments themselves were not asking companies to spy on us in this nature. If they weren't, you know, told, hey, collect all this information so we can get appropriate taxation or monitoring of the finances of this individual. I mean, if I'm doing something wrong, then start investigating me, and trying to narrow down my finances and all that shit. That's like a after the fact kind of thing, or if you come across me in the progress of some other criminal investigation or some shit. Okay, now we're talking, but this, baseless, give us all your fucking information down to your DNA, give us a sample of your hair and your urine, just so you can trade on this exchange. Fuck you. I've said this multiple times, that cryptocurrencies are such that people are actually incentivized not to comply. All of the compliance measures that these entities want us to undertake, they are more costly than what safety they provide. And again, 9 times out of 10, we see this information being used to compromise individuals, not make them safer. So you really got to wonder what the actual priority is here. Is it, exposing your information to a place so it can be stolen? I mean, because that does seem to be pretty high on the fucking list of priorities here. That it keeps fucking happening over and over and over again. I mean, I don't know. I think the laxity is, it's due to some, just not enough urgency of the situation. Cryptocurrencies exist for a reason. They happen for a reason. And no, it's not so you can just gank our fucking money electronically. And because of that, I believe that it will continue. And that ultimately, in the longer term, we are not going to be gathering KYC data, because the cost to us, the potential cost to us, just in security risks alone, will far outweigh whatever benefits are gleaned, whatever additional monetization is to be had by the knowledge of your KYC AML information. Anyway, next one I got on this is on newsbtc.com. Scammer demands 300 Bitcoin from Binance and KYC data ransom. And this is by Martin Young. News is emerging that the world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, has been the victim of an attempted ransom demand from a scammer. The attacker threatened to release KYC information if the company did not cough up 300 Bitcoin. Give me Bitcoin or else. In its efforts to be totally transparent, Binance has just released a statement revealing that an unidentified individual has, quote, threatened and harassed them. Enigmatic CEO Changpeng Zhao urged people not to believe or to spread the FUD, which had already been disseminated across social media. Yeah, okay. We already got that part. Just like Facebook before it, Twitter has now become a hotbed of scams and fake news, and the platform seems indifferent to the problem. These types of posts started appearing on Twitter, prompting Binance to clarify the situation. Replying to Binance, hurry up and wipe out every single customer picture you received from them. You cannot keep information confidential and secure for your customers. You better clear all pictures from your system before they begin using them for illegal stuff. Take action now. Oh shit. The statement added that the scammer demanded 300 Bitcoin in exchange for withholding 10,000 photos that bear similarity to Binance KYC data. It said that the company was investigating the legitimacy of the images and had refused to comply with the extortion. By then, the perpetrator had begun releasing them online. I got a really big clue for you. If this information lacks the watermarks, what may have actually happened is that the step at which the information was received and disseminated to the hacker's source, because supposedly they hacked an insider that was gathering this information, right? And so maybe the reception point for the KYC data is before the watermark is put on it. Especially if we were talking about a third party. Because supposedly they had a third party contractor involved here. Well, maybe their third party didn't have the watermark installed on their servers, and so when they were receiving the information, it wasn't being watermarked. That's a pretty plain explanation. Anyway, continuing on. The spurious Telegram group was created to disseminate the bogus KYC images. CZ responded to those sharing the link, stating that they were doing greater harm than good. I would like to add, by joining or spreading the link of the Telegram group, you are helping malicious hackers, at least giving attention. What we should do as an industry is to fight them. Stay on the positive side, report the group, then leave. No, I don't believe that's the smart move, dipshit. Look, if I were a stupid hacker, I might actually go to that Telegram group and say, yeah, me and my friends were involved in the hack. We've still got CZ's servers completely fucking pwned and can access their shit whenever we want. Well, that can't fucking happen if the Telegram group is closed. Now, can it, CZ? Now, not to say that people that would do this kind of hack are that stupid, but people are stupid. People fuck up. We talked a little bit about it with the Capital One hack, where supposedly, and I'm saying supposedly because this shit smells so much, I would swear that the woman that they've got detained right now is nothing more than a patsy. I mean, because she supposedly uploaded information from the hack onto her GitHub account that was listed under her name, that had her personal identification information associated with it. So email address, physical address, so on and so forth. That she named herself and associated her name with her handle, her hacker handle, on other social media outlets. So, really, why would you want Telegram to close the fucking room if people are going to potentially disseminate information about the hack at hand or their participation in it? Fucking stupid. Stupid. What the hell is this? Okay. Oh shit. Apparently I'm getting message of 18 minutes in our Telegram group lost the Privs last night for posting a link to a group with all that data. Grand Priest blah 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 blah. Cool. Rock on. Anyway, cool. I was messaged in Discord. But anyway, so yeah, this it's just fucking stupid. Why Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's just fucking stupid. Why don't ask them to fucking take down the Telegram channel. Let the information go. Monitor it. Let it happen. It's going to happen anyway, and Anyway, there are still people that believe that you just need another layer. Another layer of watchers watching the watchers, and everything will be cool. And so here it is on CoinDesk. South Korean watchdog plans direct supervision of crypto exchanges. And this is by Daniel Palmer, August 7th, 2019 at 9:01 UTC. A South Korean financial watchdog under the Financial Services Commission is planning to more closely supervise cryptocurrency exchanges. Woo! The agency in question, the Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU, has said it will directly regulate crypto trading platforms which currently are indirectly controlled via guidance given to banks, says a report in Business Korea on Wednesday. And let's go ahead and right click on that thing too. For example, last year the FSC amended the anti-money laundering rules applying to cryptocurrency exchanges, which was to be carried out by requiring domestic banks to tighten up monitoring of exchange-held accounts. In today's report, Lee Tae-hoon, Director of Administration and Planning at the FIU, was cited as saying Tuesday that the Korean government will set up a licensing system for crypto exchanges as recently recommended in new international standards issued by the FATF. The move would boost the transparency of cryptocurrency transactions, Lee said. No, it wouldn't. Quote, if an amendment to the Act on Reporting and Use of Certain Financial Transaction Information, which reflects the FATF's international standards for cryptocurrencies, passes the National Assembly, it will be possible to prevent money laundering through cryptocurrencies, Lee explained at a public hearing on crypto transparency at the National Assembly. Approval of the amendment would make regulations more effective by shifting from the current indirect regulation through commercial banks to direct regulation, Lee said. According to a Wednesday blog post from crypto compliance solution provider Argos, the amendment may also bring in the controversial travel rule, meaning that exchanges would have to share information on parties when making transactions. This would pose a major problem for exchanges, as crypto transactions do not include identifying data, the post says. Yeah. I've said this multiple times on this show, but this kind of measure, it will only force individuals to get more extreme in their desire to circumvent your ability to monitor them. So, if you apply more stringent KYC AML regulation on one exchange, they're simply going to go to another exchange that doesn't have those requirements. Yeah. Anyway, I do have more on that article. It's very, very short here. South Korean financial regulator planning to directly regulate cryptocurrency exchanges. Yeah, I'm going to fuck themselves. Youngsil? I have no idea there. This is August 7, 2019 at 9:18, I'm assuming AM. The Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU, under the Financial Services Commission, FSC, has disclosed a plan to directly regulate cryptocurrency exchanges and to bring them into the regulatory system. Currently, the FIU indirectly controls cryptocurrency exchanges through administrative guidance to banks. The FIU official said on August 6th that the government will enhance the transparency of cryptocurrency transactions by introducing a, quote, cryptocurrency exchange licensing system recommended by the Financial Task Force. Yeah. Lee Tae-hoon, head of administration and planning at the FIU, said, quote, if an amendment to the Act on Reporting and Use of Certain Financial Transaction Information, which reflects the FATF's international standards for cryptocurrencies, passes the National Assembly, it will be possible to prevent money... No, it won't. You guys are fucking smoking crack. Lee was speaking at a public hearing on the enactment of a law to improve transparency in virtual asset trading held at the National Assembly Members Office building. Quote, if the amendment is approved by lawmakers, we can raise the effectiveness of regulations by shifting from the current indirect regulation through commercial banks to direct regulation. In this regard, crypto exchanges and legal circles pointed out that the regulations on banks' issuance of real name accounts to cryptocurrency exchanges need to be specified first to ensure that cryptocurrency exchanges have the same level of real name authentication and anti-money laundering systems as that of traditional financial companies. Yeah, I think, again, we're talking about incentives here. If if the incentive is for me to be out of compliance, I'm going to operate out of compliance. I'm going to plan my business to operate specifically outside of compliance. I'm going to tell people, get a fucking VPN account so that you can get an account with me, and we can trade on my exchange that's completely decentralized. You know, I'm registered in the Seychelles Islands and in Zug, Switzerland. No need to worry on this end. You know, and if people are willing to trust me that far and invest and trade on my exchange, who are you or anybody else to say they can't? I think, again, we got to come back to this part about permissionless, because that's what cryptocurrencies are all about, is taking away the ability of you to tell me no when I want to move my money to somebody else. I mean, people just completely undervalue that. You know, they completely downplay. Oh, you know, money is only the first application. Hey, let me tell you something. What I just outlined is like the most revolutionary thing to happen in digital money. The transition from needing a centralized institution to manage over everything to your next door neighbor's kid's computer, your computer. Composing a network, a global network at that, where monetary value could be transacted from you to somewhere else, someone else, anytime, anywhere, without anybody else's permission. That's fucking completely revolutionary. And again, it really disappoints me to hear people talk shit about that. And as wonderful as that is, people actually do talk shit about that. Can you believe that? It's like, why did you even show up here? Why are you even involved here if that's your feeling about it? You know, stick to using your prepaid credit card or some shit like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I've been wanting to play something off Master of Puppets. And so here it is. Disposable Heroes by Metallica, here on CoinMetal. And that was Irreversible Mechanism with Beyond. Alright. So next up, I got this article here on Cointelegraph.com. This is by Marie Hewlett. So no penis. ECB says it's ramping up crypto surveillance to include off-chain data. The European Central Bank says the, quote, central banking community will refine its monitoring of cryptocurrency transactions both on and off-chain. In an August 7th report entitled Understanding the Crypto Asset Phenomenon, Its Risks and Measurement Issues, the ECB argues that, quote, closing the data gaps associated with crypto assets continues to pose a significant challenge for regulators and financial institutions. Closing data gaps for crypto asset monitoring. The report argues that the risks and spillover effects of crypto assets to the real economy depends on the extent that the two spheres are interconnected. It advises that the ECB should therefore prolong and refine its qualitative and quantitative analysis of this new asset class. Yet while the public nature of distributed ledger technology-based crypto asset networks broadly provides transparency, the report notes the decentralized and patchily regulated nature of crypto asset-related activities complicate efforts to organize systemic data collection efforts. This is in part due to the absence of, quote, hard transaction data covering both on and off-chain activity, resulting in only a partial view of the crypto asset market. No, you see what we want you to fucking see. You see what's needed to be seen. The transaction. Did it fucking clear? Was it valid? That's it. That's all you need to know. The rest of it, you can go fuck yourself. A summons to the, quote, central banking community. As the report outlines, initiatives to refine crypto asset data collection and analysis have been undertaken by entities such as the Irving Fisher Committee on Central Banking Statistics and expert groups investigating the statistical classification of crypto assets in the system of national accounts. While this latter initiative may have significant implications for measuring nations' GDP and other indicators, the ECB notes statistical clarification for crypto assets remains a complex task, given that their very characteristic is not to represent a, quote, financial claim on or a liability of any identifiable entity. The ECB states that those seeking reliable on- and off-chain data must further overcome the difficulty of retrieving public data on market segments that remain off-radar for public authorities. They must also contend with, quote, relatively illiquid crypto trading platforms that may be affected by wash trading, and take into account the, quote, lack of consistency in the methodology and conventions used by institutionalized exchanges and commercial data providers. In its conclusion, the ECB pledges to continue to analyze both on-chain and layered protocol transactions and to focus on harmonizing and enriching metadata for off-chain transactions, as well as developing best practices for crypto asset indicators. This May, ECB report had conversely argued that cryptocurrencies do not have implications for monetary policy nor factor into the real economy. I don't know how to take that one. Let's see. Ben says, good luck. I agree. Misako Akamoto says, why not embrace it completely? You know you're going to have to one day. Any idiot with little brain would say that crypto is not going anywhere and that traditional money will be extinct someday. I couldn't agree more, Maseo. That the fact of the matter is we are coming into a new form of governance, essentially, where the individual has ultimate control. Not just of their monetary value, but how they store their monetary value, how they will transact their monetary value. And this has rabid implications for all of these institutions that have by default had their hands in our pockets somewhere along the way between our employers and our bank account. I mean, we're talking about several entities here. Your bank, they're one entity, and then if they're farming out their payment processing, that's another entity. And then of course you have state and federal tax entities that are in there with their hands in your pocket and shit. And it's funny, this argument keeps coming up over and over and over again about how anarchy would work, who would pay for the roads. Well, if you're using the roads as a means to get to and from work or participate in work, it might be in your interest to dedicate some funds to repairing roads. If you had a place online where there was, say, a receive address for payment for possible road fixing or something like that, and you could, say, pay it $10-15 on a whim, and it was known throughout your community that this was a possibility and this is how we're going to pay for roads, your roads would probably be fully funded. And it wouldn't be a matter of expected yield or whatever. It'd be a matter of we're looking at the wallet address, and as soon as we hit our funding requirements, we'll go ahead and get to work. I assure you that the road would be worth it to somebody in order to do it. Anyway, I got this other article here, and I think we got enough time for this one. And we've been kind of waiting on this too. This is on btcmanager.com. Kik launches scathing rebuttal at SEC. Counterattack. Kik has rebutted the SEC's lawsuit with blistering claims that the regulator is purposely misrepresenting facts and misrepresenting documents and testimony. The SEC alleged that a third-party consultant told Kik that their token, KIN, was required to abide by securities regulations. This was supposedly recommended as Kik was selling units of property they created for a specific purpose on their app. The case is slowly turning into crucial verification of whether digital tokens will need to comply with securities laws. It won't matter whether or not they need to. People will fucking utilize them without any permission. I'm sorry, that's the reality. Continuing. In their 130-page response, Kik said the SEC continuously cited quotes out of context and failed to include an instance where he emphasized that KIN was a currency. Their aggressive stance represents a company, or rather industry, that is fed up with constant regulatory scrutiny, even though it may be warranted. It's not actually warranted. Familiar allegations. As previously reported by BTC manager, Bitfinex also hit out at New York state regulators for supposedly twisting facts and cherry-picking data points. If both of these instances prove true, it is clear evidence that American regulators are trying to malign crypto business in the public eye. After tearing down Libra, these regulators face a new potential challenge from retail behemoth Walmart. The cryptocurrency space is just starting to bloom with the issue on regulators' minds is finding a way to adequately impose authority over these companies. One would hope that this isn't the case and that regulators will act fairly as they would against any other business or industry. Now, we're not quite there yet. We're going to have to displace a significant legacy participant in a very, very, very big way for that to happen. And honestly, I think they'll displace themselves in the longer term, that the mere cost of compliance with existing regulations will push them to be transacting monetary value in cryptocurrencies. Because they'll say, look, dude, we could pay the $100 million doing it this way, or we could store it in Bitcoin, cash it out at the end of the fiscal year, be up about 40 to 60%, get our shit covered, and walk away with money in the pocket. Why wouldn't we do that? Yeah. And so I got one more. I think we can get this one in before we wrap it up, and I definitely want to do it, though. This is on Gizmodo.com. The world's dumbest Bitcoin scammer tries to scam Bitcoin educator and gets scammed in the process. This is by Jennings Brown, approximately 50 minutes ago. Let's yesterday at 12:30 p.m. Okay. And so, by the picture, yes, penis. Ben Perrin is a Canadian cryptocurrency enthusiast and educator who hosts a Bitcoin show on YouTube. This is immediately apparent after a quick look at all his social media. 10 seconds of viewing on one of his videos will show that he is knowledgeable about digital assets, and about 30 seconds of perusing his channel will show he has produced some videos on Bitcoin scams. So, it's surprising that a Bitcoin scammer would try to scam Perrin through his Instagram account and go so far as to actually send Perrin some of their own Bitcoin. But recently, a scammer did just that, and Perrin bested him. In a blog published on Monday, Perrin shows the entire exchange between him and a scammer, in which Perrin turned the tables and convinced the scammer to send Perrin $50, which he reportedly donated to charity. Quote, "This morning I awoke on a beautiful holiday Monday in Canada to a message from a clear scammer promising me untold fortunes if I just bestow some of my Bitcoin upon them," Perrin wrote in the blog. Rather than tell this individual to go pound sand, I opted to enlist a mix of Photoshop, strategically finding random transactions on a block explorer, and social engineering to teach a lesson on behalf of a good cause. The scammer offered to double Perrin's Bitcoin investment within 24 hours. Perrin played naive and cautiously enthusiastic. He eventually photoshopped a Bitcoin wallet statement and then asked the scammer to send him money as a test. When the scammer refused, Perrin pretended that another person, Stu Reed, had just reached out to him with a similar offer. Perrin told the scammer that Stu had sent him a good faith test payment, which prompted the real scammer to send their own test payment, presumably so Stu wouldn't con Perrin out of all of his Bitcoin before they did. Quote, I said that I would gladly invest $20,000 with them if they would simply send me $100 back. I could then return it to them just to ensure that everything was legit, Perrin told CBS News. The scammer finally agreed to send Perrin half, $50. Then Perrin revealed that he had actually outconned the con artist and told him that he was donating the money. CBS confirmed that Perrin received the transfer and sent the money to Bitcoin Venezuela, which claims to use cryptocurrency for humanitarian aid as the bolivar has collapsed. Perrin told CBC that he doesn't plan on continuing to scam scammers. He just saw an opportunity to show cryptocurrency newcomers how to avoid getting duped. That is an excellent public service. Thank you very much, Perrin. Show these motherfuckers what's up. It's pretty much as simple as you can get about it. You know, the fact of the matter is that the more digital this shit gets, the more people are going to try and scam you. You know? I mean, as a matter of fact, I think I've got time for just one more. And I'm going to do it because we're on the subject of scammers here. IRS scammers back at it again with crypto tax letters. This is on bitcoinwarrior.net. The case where the IRS sent out letters to several cryptocurrency traders in the United States has already been reported by Cryptopolitan, but now reports are coming in from Forbes that several IRS scammers have taken advantage of the situation and are sending fake letters to crypto holders. Forbes explains that the letters sent to crypto holders notify them about their due tax to the government and threatens them with legal action such as additional fees and even jail time, according to the state law. One part where these scammers revealed themselves to both Forbes and the supposed victims was when they mentioned liens filed against the citizens. It's common knowledge that liens are publicly available and any citizen of the United States or otherwise can check themselves to verify the information. It seems these scammers relied mostly on the financially illiterate population to somehow defraud them of their funds. It's unfortunate to mention, but IRS scams have long been a thing in the United States for years now. But the involvement of cryptocurrencies is a first. In the past, most IRS scams would be conducted over the phone, where offshore call centers would target U.S. citizens and lie to them about debt to the government and threaten to have them arrested. It's sad to see such a terrible practice translate into cryptocurrencies as well. Well, this is because government insists on setting the expectation that they can track all your shit and that they're looking out for your best interests and all that other shit. You know what? We've seen plenty of evidence just in the priorities of the legislation that indicate to us that our safety is the least of their fucking concerns. What they want is accountability of every fucking cent you earn so they can make sure that they're getting an adequate cut of your fucking money. That's it. Well, you know, if their services aren't including some consideration for your safety, personal or financial, I don't see a reason to actually comply. I think complying is actually introducing yourself to more danger than you could possibly expect to receive than simple avoidance. And it is with that the incentives are always balanced to non-compliance. Because compliance, again, introduces you to more risk and more danger than non-compliance. And that just shouldn't be the case. It is, though. And it's a reality that we are going to become more and more familiar with as time goes on. You can bet the farm on that one. And it is with that I'd like to close out this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We will be back again on Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so until then, I want you all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. As far as our last dance is concerned, we're going to go a little bit long on this one, a little bit of tool for us. And supposedly they're coming out with a new one like really soon, or it's already been released or something. I haven't actually checked the status of it, but we will find out soon enough. And so here it is, Vicarious Last Dance here on CoinMetal. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent day, or evening rather.